Today, we're going to learn about the Demiurge, from its Platonic origin as a benevolent creator to its controversial role in Gnostic tradition. We'll examine the shifting perspectives of this mysterious figure. We're also going to look at how the Gnostics' depiction of the Demiurge as a deceiving lesser god contrasts with the Platonic ideal, and how this entity is tied to the introduction of evil and suffering into the human experience. And we're going to ponder Sophia's influence in the alleged creation of the Demiurge. As a side note, we'll also get into the Sophia thing, but that's going to be for another show. In the heart of ancient Greek philosophy, the concept of the Demiurge emerges as a towering idea, one that sheds light onto the cosmic craftsmanship behind the universe. The term Demiurge itself springs from the Greek word demiourgos, encapsulating the roles of a craftsman or an artisan. In Plato's seminal work, Timaeus, where this character of the Demiurge is first outlined with clarity and philosophical depth, Plato introduces the Demiurge not as a deity to be worshipped, but as a kind and orderly figure, a divine craftsman, if you will, who is charged with shaping the chaotic matter of the cosmos into the ordered world we experience. According to the Platonic vision, the Demiurge does not create ex nihilo, which means out of nothing, as some creation myths suggest. Instead, he organizes pre-existing chaotic material using eternal imperfect models called forms. These forms represent the truest, most ideal blueprints of reality, from the courage found in a warrior to the beauty beheld in a sunset. They are perfect and unchanging concepts that reside in the realm of forms, a dimension of perfection that the Demiurge looks upon as he works. But what is truly fascinating about Plato's Demiurge is that it reflects an optimistic view of the universe. It suggests that the world, though material and imperfect, is crafted with the intention of good and is modeled after the highest principles. This is a sharp contrast to later interpretations, where the Demiurge is cast in a more negative light. In Plato's eyes, the Demiurge operates out of a sense of goodness, aspiring to shape a world that is as splendid and as perfect as possible. He is the divine intellect, the nous, which imposes order on the cosmos. This design reflects an intelligible order and structure, making the universe understandable through the lens of philosophy and science. It may astound one to think that these musings of Plato, etched in the fabric of his texts, would reverberate through the halls of history, influencing centuries of thought on the very structure of existence. This benevolent Demiurge stands as a testament to humanity's enduring quest to comprehend the profound mysteries of the cosmos and our place within its vast expanse. In early religious and philosophical thought, the concept of the Demiurge takes on a significantly darker shade within the folds of Gnosticism compared to the more optimistic roles it plays in the Platonic tradition. The Gnostics, a group of early Christian and Jewish sects, recast the Demiurge not as a benevolent shaper of the cosmos, but as a being with a more sinister or ignorant agenda. This figure, rather than being viewed as the wise and skilled craftsman as depicted by Plato, stands as a symbol of all that is flawed and wrong with the material world. Where Plato's Demiurge seeks to order the universe in alignment with the perfect forms, the Gnostic Demiurge is often blamed for the creation of the suffering and evil that plague the material world. In stark contrast to the belief that our tangible reality reflects a higher perfection, the Gnostics believe that the world we live in is a mistake, an aberration brought about by the misguided or incorrect actions of the Demiurge. It is a profound deviation from the notion of a world created in goodness and light. Instead, the Gnostic tradition presents a narrative of a cosmos gone awry, with the Demiurge as the chief architect of the spiritual disaster. For the Gnostics, this ill-conceived creation distanced humanity from the true essence of the divine, entrapping the divine spark within us in a flawed, grossly material existence. To ponder on the figure of the Demiurge in Gnosticism is to examine a canvas of cosmic proportions, one where the strokes of creation echo with the mistakes and failings of a being far removed from Plato's wise creator. Understanding this difference paints a vivid picture of the theological battles and the contrast that existed in ancient systems of belief, underscoring the breadth of ideas that influenced the spiritual landscape of the time. For many Gnostics, the Demiurge was not seen as the ultimate divine presence, but as a deceptive god a pretender who claimed an authority that was not his to claim. In their view, the Demiurge was equated with the God of the Old Testament, the one who fashioned the earth and its inhabitants. Yet the crux of the Gnostic argument stands in stark contrast to how mainstream religious tradition interprets these scriptures. The Gnostics posited that this deity, whom they associated with the Demiurge, was not the supreme and all-knowing being he presented himself to be. Instead, they saw him as an entity who had mistakenly assumed he was the only God, blinded by his own limitations and ignorance. He was perceived to lack a full understanding of the broader, more nuanced canvas of the cosmos, particularly the truly divine realms that lay beyond its creation. This misidentification and assertion of false ultimate authority led the Demiurge to create a material world that was inherently flawed. It instilled a fundamental misconception among humanity about the nature of godliness and divinity. By shifting focus from a potential unknowable divine source to a visible but imperfect creator, Gnostic tradition challenges believers to reconsider their perceptions of creation, power, and the very concept of deity. This perspective attributes the world's imperfections and human suffering not to the design of an omnibenevolent being, but to the faults of an inferior creator. This bold reassessment of divine hierarchy reshapes the theological landscape, providing rich ground for contemplation on the origins of evil, the purpose of life, and the pathway to spiritual awakening. The concept of the Demiurge takes a darker turn within the realm of Gnostic thought, where its existence is synonymous not with creation, but with the induction of suffering and misfortune. This creator, revered in Platonic philosophy as a benevolent craftsman, is cast in a very different light in Gnosticism, a light that reveals the shadows in our world. In this tradition, the Demiurge is often tied to the emergence of evil. This entity, possibly born from a mistake or an overreach in the unfolding of the divine, crafts a world that is a far cry from the perfection of the spiritual realms. The material universe, according to this perspective, emerges tainted, a flawed reflection orchestrated by an ignorant or even malicious creator. The poignant questions of why pain and misery exist in our world seemingly find an answer in the Gnostic narrative. The Demiurge, unaware or indifferent to the pure encompassing divinity, encapsulates his creation with ignorance and perfection. Here, the embodiment of error and lack of true divine knowledge, unwittingly or deliberately, sows the seed of suffering, trapping the sparks of the divine, our souls, in a distorted, transitory world. Now, this portrayal of the Demiurge opens a window into the ancient struggle to comprehend the quandary of human existence and the persistence of suffering. The idea of a creator gone awry offers a stark reflection on the imperfections we witness around us, framing our reality in stark opposition to the pure, higher realms from which we are estranged. In the esoteric narrative of Gnostic belief, the figure of Sophia, who is also known as wisdom, emerges as a pivotal creator in the celestial hierarchy. Sophia, one of the emanations of the divine source, plays a central role in the birth of the Demiurge. It is told that in an act filled with consequences, Sophia, desiring to emanate without the consent of her Ziggy, or divine counterpart, inadvertently brings forth the Demiurge. This event is framed as a deviation from the divine plan, a momentous slip that gave rise to a being unaware of the full panorama of the spiritual cosmos. The Demiurge, born from Sophia's initiative, lacks the knowledge of the higher realm from which he originated. As a result, he goes on to shape the physical world without insight into the greater truths of existence, a world he believed he created in isolation of any higher power. And Sophia's role is of great significance. She is both the mother of the Demiurge and a symbol of misplaced creative power. Within Gnostic traditions, her actions are often interpreted as a metaphor for the human condition. Our souls, like Sophia, find themselves trapped in a material reality, unaware of their divine origin and potential. In this tale, Sophia's fall and subsequent plea for redemption result in the intervention of higher powers to restore cosmic balance. But the existence of the Demiurge is already cemented, as is his flawed creation that Gnostic seekers aim to transcend. So, Sophia's narrative sets the stage for the salvation journey of the Gnostic followers seeking a return to the full knowledge and splendor of the pleroma, the totality of divine powers from which they were separated. In Gnostic lore, Archons operate as aides de camp to the Demiurge, orchestrating the administration of the material realm. They are often depicted as gatekeepers, upholding the rules and maintaining the strict hierarchical structure that the Demiurge has imposed upon the physical world. The very presence of Archons introduces an additional layer of complexity within the cosmos. They are considered to be lesser than the Demiurge, but their impact is far from trivial. According to Gnostic teachings, these Archons possess their own realms of influence and authority. They supervise earthly affairs, seeking to deter souls from achieving the gnosis essential for their liberation. Some Gnostic texts even suggest that these entities harbor their own will and purpose. Much like the Demiurge, they are prone to acts that can impede spiritual advancement, acting as obstacles to those seeking unity within the divine source. The struggle against the Archons is a central theme in Gnostic mythology, depicting the soul's journey as a battle to overcome not only the material world, but also the forces that govern it. Within the enigmatic realm of Gnostic tradition, salvation is a journey of awakening, an enlightening adventure, accessible not through the rituals or moral deeds, but through gnosis, or gnosis, which is a term that denotes knowledge. But not just any knowledge. This form of knowledge is profound and spiritual. It is an intimate understanding of the divine, the cosmos, and one's true self, transcending the tangible material plane that the Demiurge has crafted. In the eyes of Gnostics, the physical world is a reflection of a grave error, a distorted shadow cast by a deity who, in ignorance, shaped reality without the comprehension of the full spiritual truth. This illusionary world, with its transient charms and lurking sorrows, is a place from which souls are meant to ascend. The path to salvation is illuminated by the spiritual knowledge. The liberated Gnostic, armed with the light of Gnosis, or Gnosis, peers through the veil of material existence to perceive the true, incorruptible realm. This moment of Gnosis is transformative, emancipating the soul from the entrapments and influences of the Archons and the Demiurge's deceptive vision of reality. To achieve Gnosis, the Gnostic seeker engages in introspection, meditation, and the study of sacred texts. It's a personal, often mystical, and internal experience that leads to the profound realization that divinity is inherent within and that the spirit is, in fact, a spark of the divine trapped in a flawed world. Gnostics held that this inner awakening is the key to spiritual emancipation, unlocking the chains that tether human existence to pain and delusion. Once Gnosis is attained, the soul is free to reunite with the divine source, casting off the shadows of the Demiurge's creation and finding ultimate peace in oneness with the true essence of existence. So, in Gnostic belief, knowledge is not only power, it is also the very vehicle of redemption and the return to the divine. At the heart of Gnostic teachings lies a profound dualistic worldview, a strict division between the material and the spiritual realms. To the Gnostics, reality was a battleground of two opposing forces. On one end, the material world, which was crafted by the Demiurge and fraught with imperfection and suffering, and on the other, the spiritual world, pure and eternal, untainted by the flaws of physical existence. Central to this worldview is the human condition, portrayed as a microcosm of the cosmic divide. Humans, to the Gnostics, carry within them a spark of the divine, trapped in a body in a world created by an inferior deity. This inner divine spark is akin to a prisoner, yearning for the release from the bonds of the physical world to reunite with the true and unknowable absoluteness from where it came. The Gnostic perspective on life was thus marked by a profound sense of estrangement. The soul's true home was not this transient world, but in the ineffable realms of spirit. Every aspect of human existence, our thoughts, struggles, triumphs, was viewed through the lens of this grand cosmic drama. Escape and thereby salvation lay in the recognition of the dualistic nature of reality, and by seeking the knowledge to transcend it. In a world where the material is seen as mere shadow or distortion of the spiritual, Gnostics seem to awaken from the illusion fostered by the Demiurge to discern the spiritual truth veiled by the physical facade. The dualistic worldview is not merely an abstract principle. It is an existential map guiding the Gnostics through the labyrinth of the Demiurge's creation back to the realm of the absolute divine. This deep yearning for a return to the spiritual source defines the Gnostic journey and casts the Demiurge not as a benevolent craftsman, but as the warden of a world that is, at its core, an elaborate mirage. We live in the Matrix. The mysterious figure of the Demiurge has had a significant impact on the evolution of Christian theology, particularly during the early formation of church doctrine. The early church fathers, confronted with the Gnostic interpretation of the Demiurge as a malevolent or ignorant creator, sought to address and refute these claims to preserve what they considered to be the orthodox Christian understanding of God and creation. The Gnostic notion of a deceptive and lower deity who shaped the material universe posed a direct challenge to the Christian teachings about a single benevolent God. This pressing controversy called for a response. Theologians like St. Irenaeus and Tertullian were at the forefront of this theological struggle, writing extensively to argue against the Gnostic worldview. Their main argument revolved around the goodness of creation. They posited that the universe created by God was inherently good and that material existence was not evil but a part of God's divine plan. This perspective was crucial in shaping the Nicene Creed, a core symbol of faith that unambiguously affirmed the belief in one God, the maker of heaven and earth, countering Gnostic dualism. Additionally, they emphasized the true nature of the Christian God as one who is not only transcendent, but also immanent, deeply involved in his creation, and is distinctly separate from the flawed depiction of the Demiurge. Their work helped to define and solidify essential Christian doctrines about the nature of God, the goodness of creation, and the purpose of human existence. The struggle with Gnosticism thus inadvertently strengthened the Church's understanding of its own theology, fostering a clearer articulation of its beliefs about the world, sin, and salvation. The figure of the Demiurge served as a foil against which the early Church to assert its own identity, an identity that continues to influence Christian thought to this day. While the ancient contemplation of Plato and the enigmatic scripts of Gnosticism might seem distant, the Demiurge remains an influential concept in today's intellectual dialogue. In modern philosophy, the Demiurge occasionally surfaces as a metaphor for any entity or agency that imposes order on a chaos. This can apply to natural laws dictating cosmic order or to human endeavors in shaping the environment. Interestingly, the negative connotations once attributed to the Demiurge in Gnostic contexts have evolved. Today's discussions often strip away the moral judgment, using the Demiurge more neutrally to describe the intrinsic drive toward organization and meaning in a universe that appears indifferent. Even in the realm of artificial intelligence and virtual realities, the term finds a place, with creators of these domains likened to a Demiurge, shaping digital worlds according to their will. In metaphysics, the Demiurge engages thinkers who ponder the nature of creation and reality. It raises questions about consciousness, the existence of a higher order, and what role, if any, a creator plays in the tapestry of existence. In these discussions, the Demiurge serves as a bridge between the ancient world's mythical storytelling and today's quest for understanding the complexities of existence and the cosmos. The lasting relevance of the Demiurge demonstrates the enduring human curiosity about origins, creators, and the forces that fashion our reality, whether it is through divine craft, natural process, or human innovation. It is a concept that has transcended its mythological roots to become a symbol of creation and order in the midst of life's unpredictability. All right, that's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. All right, with that being said, if you like what we did, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down. Either way, good with it. Have an awesome day.